And his question is there any hope for a normal person to have enlightenment within this lifetime? I have not been dishing out miracles since the time I was 10. All right. I think one method I shared with you earlier in my Hindi discourse. If you can speak sweetly, not like unctuously, not like in a manner which is ingratiatingly sweet, but in a manner that is genuinely sweet. You would be able to do that if you see the goodness in those around you. And if you can have an impeccable sense of behavior, and I'm not talking about being polite, I'm talking about being humble. That's one easy route. But for the purposes of answering this question, we'll have to divide it into two parts. First is, are you a believer? Or second, are you an atheist? Are you a non-believer? I'll first cover the non-believer aspect. If you think that something like enlightenment exists, which, by the way, in my humble opinion, is grossly overrated. Enlightenment is not a moment. It's not really an attainment. And I can't say I'm enlightened now and therefore I will be different for the rest of my life. Enlightenment is something you live. It's a verb. It's an experience. It's a way of life. Absolutely never an attainment. Only the ignorant will speak of enlightenment as a moment of attainment. And therefore, I'm not surprised if Buddha's disciples said that Tathagat got enlightenment after 6 years. Yes, a transformative moment sometimes occurs, but to say that that is enlightenment is nothing but ignorance, in my view. Now, if you believe that God does not exist, funny, even in this sentence, we're negating something. We're saying God does not exist, which means I'm saying there is a God, but it doesn't exist. There is no God. What would you replace it with? This man was dying, and actually he died. He was a non-believer, and he was lying in his coffin. Very rich man, all decked up and stuff. This priest was walking by. He said, "Look, all dressed up and nowhere to go. Poor soul. You don't believe in heaven, you don't believe in hell, where are you going to go?" I think I shared this quote with you I read a long time back. I considered being an atheist. I considered being a non-believer. But there were no holidays in the year left for me then. I thought it was a bad deal. No Krishna Janmashtami, no Ram Navami, no Easter, no Good Friday, no Passover, nothing. If you don't believe in a God, then what are you going to celebrate? Anyway, that's your personal matter. So the point is, if you are a non-believer, the onus is on you. Then you define what is enlightenment. You define when you got it or get it. You define what to do with it. And you define if somebody should have some of it or not. Everything is on you. The burden of proof is on you. The burden of sustenance is on you. Because you have created your own rules. It is possible to be in a highly evolved state of consciousness through extreme, rigorous practice of yoga or meditation. It is quite possible. It is also possible to really have no more confusion in life by reading a lot of good stuff, by reflecting on that stuff deeply. In other words, I am saying it is possible to be enlightened even when you don't believe in the very notion or existence or presence of God. But what that enlightenment is, only you know. And that's something which is worth pondering over. That what is enlightenment after all? Are you saying that after my vision of Divine Mother or whatever, that I don't fall sick, or I don't feel offended, or I don't feel hurt, or I'm forever smiling? Now you know better, right? That's not the case. I don't have any grudges against anybody, but I didn't have that earlier either. I'm leading a good life, but I was leading a good life earlier as well. So I don't really know what has changed. Do I believe in Divine Mother now more? Well, think about that. I was willing to die for her earlier. Now I'm living for her. And there is a difference between the two. But is enlightenment a point that you walk through that and you forever are different now? Probably not. But yes, as I often give you the example of milk or cream turning into butter and then into ghee, that yes, you can go through a series of transformations in your life that change you forever. But even that forever changed person will continue to change. That's the thing. So yes, it's absolutely possible for somebody to attain enlightenment, to be emancipated, to be delivered, to be redeemed, to be liberated. Absolutely. And you don't have to do 15,000 hours of meditation for that. I've never said that. Please understand this. I've never said that you need to meditate more than 10,000 hours to be awakened. I have said, if you want to experience the states of consciousnesses that are possible with meditation, then this is how you go about it. I've never said if you don't chant a mantra, you will not be liberated. Absolutely not. And that takes me to the second point. If you believe in God, Jo sampatti siva ravana hi dini diye dasmat. सोई संपदा विभीष नहीं सकुचि दिन ही रघुनाथ. जो संपत्ति शिव रावण ही दीनी दिए दसमात. The wealth, the siddhis, the attainments that Ravana got by giving up 10 heads, sacrificing, by meditating, by doing his tapas, his penance, his repentance in extreme biting cold, not with 6 layers on his body, just in the Himalayas, over hundreds of years or over very prolonged period. Goswami Tulsidas writes this, Jo sampatti siv ravana hi deni diye dasmat. When he gave his 10 heads, severed his heads 10 times. And then Shiva became pleased with him and blessed him with his grace. Soi sampada vibhish nahi, sakuchi dini Raghunath. The same wealth Vibhishan got in a fraction of a moment with just that merciful glance of Lord Rama. with just one tilakam, one touch on the forehead, and said, done. You will now be the king of Lanka. What Ravana fought for his whole life, he fought with Kubera to get that place, to get all the facilities, amenities, and the wealth that Lanka had to offer. His entire life was a struggle to get that. The same wealth, in a fraction of a moment, was given to Vibhishana at the mercy of Bhagavan. So if you believe in God, then my friend, enlightenment is imminent. It's just going to happen any moment. Have faith, don't lose hope. And you will know when you have changed. When your way of life, when your way of looking at things, when your way of dealing with the world changes, you are awakened. When you feel the same pain that you feel for yourself as you would feel for others, or vice versa, that is awakening. Because now you are deeply interconnected with all those around you. You actually see people for what they are, not for how you wish to see them. That is awakening. That is enlightenment. You get bothered less, you get bugged less, you get irritated less. You're happier. You are somehow more content. You are more together. That is enlightenment. You become the light in your own life and in the lives of those around you. And that is entirely possible with grace. And surely happens in the life of a believer. Tesham nityabhuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. I do not let my devotee perish, Kantai. I don't let that happen. I protect, I save, and I grant. I bless, I bestow. That is my very nature. Dataham vidataham. I'm the one who's giving, I'm the one who's holding everything in me. So if you believe in surrender, if you believe in grace, if you believe in God, then enlightenment is a given. Because that's the least God can do for its devotee or his or her devotee. That's his job. That's his only job, in fact. Clearly, he's not paying attention to all the other things you're asking. Thankfully, he knows better. So what's he doing? That's all he's got to do. To make sure you actually realize your full potential, that merges, the soul merges in the Supreme Soul. So you pick, you decide. Do I believe in God or do I not? Make up your mind. If you do, then have no fear. It's got to happen. The river has to go into the ocean. There is no other way. And if you don't believe, then don't waste your time. Get started. Time's running out. You have a lot to do. 15,000 hours is just tip of the iceberg, believe me. In the remaining 45,000 hours, you really have to carry yourself a certain way. And really, as I say to you repeatedly, that just be humble, be real, be gentle. Only scream at those who give you grief. With everybody else, be very nice. You know I'm joking, right? So just, Just be gentle. Just get off the pedestal. Believe me, each step you will take will be towards a better state of mind, a higher state of consciousness, towards a more blissful future.